Fang, a town made famous by its creature-infested dungeon. From his hilltop castle, Baron Sukhumvit designed his labyrinth of horrors. When it was built, he issued an annual challenge to all heroes, brave or foolish enough to wager their souls.
Hello, I'm Ian Livingstone. This CD will give you an insight into my twisted imagination that has spawned Deathtrap Dungeon. It is a combat adventure game set in a world of monsters and magic, and, as the name would imply, my dungeon is a disgusting labyrinth overflowing with vile creatures and deadly traps. And there are weird things too, like exploding pigs, flying turtles and mad imps. The conquest of Deathtrap Dungeon is no task for mere mortals. Survival is impossible without finding spells, bombs, and the odd medieval giant firecracker that's actually a rocket launcher. But even then your chances are slim, because I don't want anybody to get out alive. So, who are you? A hero or a zero? Ha 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 ha! I suppose I'm one of the original games freaks, having started Games Workshop in 1975 with an old school chum of mine, Steve Jackson. From that, we went on to write the Fighting Fantasy game books in the early 80s, and Deathtrap Dungeon was one of its most famous titles. And that was way back in 1984, and now, 15 years later, technology had advanced so much that I'm able to put my wonderful world onto a computer. You can get really realistic-looking 3D worlds and characters, and create an environment which I'm really happy with. Deathtrap Dungeon was designed by this evil baron called Sukhumvit, and he lives in this rather boring town called Fang in the Northern Hills. And to make his town famous, he decided to build this labyrinth, which was completely deadly, filled with all sorts of tricks, traps, deadly creatures, poisonous arrows coming out of every corner. Basically, it's impossible to survive. And so he threw out this annual challenge, offering 10,000 gold pieces to anybody who could get out alive. Thus far, no one's got out alive, and I don't think anyone's going to get out of this either. The way it works is that you can either choose to be a hero or a heroine. If you choose to be the hero, your name is Chain Dog, and then the heroine is called Red Lotus. Chain Dog is quite a tough old character. He was actually trained in the war pits of the Eastern Province and learned his fighting skills there. Finally he escaped, having killed all his captors, and is now basically a sword for hire. Red Lotus was kidnapped by pirates and learned about life the hard way. The pirates didn't really give her much of a chance, but finally she got away from the pirates, and now she's also a sword for hire. So choose the character you want to be, Chain Dog or Red Lotus, and try and get through the dungeon alive if you can. Well, really, they're a collection of completely barking mad programmers and artists who were mad enough to want to work with me on this project. It's been nearly 3 years in development, and it's been a massive project, basically because my standards are pretty high. We've created this massive immersive dungeon in full 3D, where 3D characters can roam around killing all the monsters and surviving the traps. There's quite a lot of humour in it, there's some amazing artwork in it, and I'm very proud. I set my standards quite high, and in this case I think we managed to come up with a fantastic game. I don't think so. I don't think anybody out there is going to be able to get out of here alive, because we managed to fill the dungeon with all sorts of disgusting creatures. You find ordinary creatures like orcs and goblins, but there's also lots of odd things, like you've got blue imps who stab you in the leg with a knife and a fork, and you run after them really angry, trying to lop their heads off. And there's great fire-breathing dragons and T-Rexes, flying turtles to fly around on, explosions, traps, poisoned arrows, flamethrowers. Everything that you could possibly hope to die with is possible in Deathtrap Dungeon. Well, if you choose to be Red Lotus, you're going to be a bit quicker, probably as a result of running away from all those pirates who are eager to grab her. Or if you choose to be Chain Dog, you can be very good at fighting, because that's what he did for a living, basically surviving in the war pits, fighting for his life every day, but not exactly good at running around. But there are loads and loads of weapons to find in the dungeon. It's not just hand-to-hand combat with swords. You can find spells, razor spells that are very interesting, and all sorts of ranged weapons, from flame lance to pipe bombs to even a giant firecracker, which is actually a rocket launcher, which makes a fantastic effect when it splatters the dungeon's monsters. And we've got this special gore routine that has a rather sort of glutinous effect of blood dripping down the wall. All good fun. Well, apart from the 55 different monsters you're going to encounter, there's a huge variety of traps. You have trapdoors, pits, arrows, darts, spears, falling rocks, gas, poisons, huge amounts of things. In fact, it's a great variety and plenty of choice of different ways you want to die. It'd be impossible not to get bloody in combat. Everybody gets covered in gore and blood from the exploding bodies caused by pipe bombs, rocket launchers, even exploding pigs. And watch what happens when the decapitations take place. Nothing better than seeing a blue imp's head flying across the room, spewing blood out of its mouth. Well, I don't think anyone should take themselves too seriously. Obviously, it's a serious dungeon in that you are risking your life, but we like to have a lot of fun. You'll see clowns will start to make armpit farts, orcs will start scratching their bottoms, the imp will give you a moon, and even the exploding pig is very amusing when it goes off. But for me, and for all the PC players in particular, you'll be able to play the network game when you'll be able to see yourself getting whacked as well as seeing other people getting whacked, so that's really good fun. With over 50 monsters, 20 enormous levels, and an array of weapons to choose from, I'm confident I've included enough action to test even the most hardened gamers. And you can rest assured, when you enter Deathtrap Dungeon, you'll be able to die in so many ways you will never get bored.